Lower the takeoff handle halfway down and turn the handle to the right!
Where is it? Lower it yourself!
I can't perform such a maneuver with this tiny body! You fool! You know nothing!
Well, I know we're going down!
Wow!
The name's Xeon. I'm a treasure hunter, but I'm traveling around now looking for something that isn't a treasure.
Yeah, and that introduction right there pretty much sets the entire tone for the game. And let me tell you, I played through several hours thus far, and what I experienced was quite the ride. Before we go any further though, I would like to preface this entire video by stating two things. First, this is probably one of the better RPGs that I have played on mobile devices. You'll need to sit through the entire thing to really understand why that is. Second, this video is sponsored. If you're interested in playing Exos Heroes, go ahead and click the link in the description and the pinned comment to be taken directly to the download for the game. Okay, so let's jump right in and talk about the game. Exos Heroes is a brand new RPG. It just launched over here in the West, and it has already garnered a ton of players in-game playing. I had two different games requested of me this month, and this was one of the two. And trust me, after playing through several hours, I can definitely see why that is the case. This is, at its core, a hero collector, providing players the option of recruiting over 200 different diverse, unique heroes. But at the same time, it is one of the most non-linear feeling RPGs that I have ever played through on my phone. See, traditionally, the RPGs you play take place in a menu. You select something like battle, and then you go directly into a chapter or a level. You fight a monster or a group of different monsters. Maybe you end up fighting a boss monster, and then you go back to the main menu screen. In Exos Heroes, however, while there is definitely a menu for upgrading your heroes, summoning new heroes, equipping gear, and overall managing your group, the majority of the game actually takes place in the overworld, much in the way of older JRPGs, which you will notice as soon as you gain access to the overworld map. See, you possess the ability to freely traverse the large open world, with towns, with dungeons, monsters, bosses, and more, all accessible by simply exploring. This type of exploration, this type of freedom is something so rare I've come to learn in mobile games. So, being able to have this kind of freedom to run around and grind monsters if you want to seek out treasure, to just find new locations on the map and actually explore the world we're living in is extraordinary. But the overworld is not the only thing that we get to explore. Nope. See, right after the intro, you actually gain access to the very first town. In that town, as you can see, interestingly enough, we're given access to a variety of new features such as alliances, events, and minigames. We're also fully capable of seeing other players run around, which I don't know, I'll be the first to admit here, I did not expect. I'm unsure of how many minigames there are in total, but the one I did play had me attempting to recruit as many heroes as I could without hitting any obstacles. Crap. Damn it. Okay, wait, I got this. Well, maybe not. Okay, you know what? I am done. And obviously, I did incredibly well, as you would no doubt expect from someone of my caliber. But you know what? The world and the exploration are just one aspect of this game, right? There are so many other things that we need to talk about. One of the most important facets of what makes or breaks a game is its combat. Combat is an integral part of every game and ultimately determines how much enjoyment you get out of the time you spend in game. I have always, and likely will always, be an ardent fan of turn-based combat in my RPGs. Not necessarily in MMOs, but definitely in my RPGs. It just brings me back to a time in my childhood where I would sit there with a bag of chips and a soda or three to burn through the entire day grinding to beat that impossible boss encounter. So I was glad to see that Exos Heroes employs a turn-based combat system as well. While the system itself is pretty traditional, it does make use of a unique Guardian Stone mechanic where each enemy has an elemental affinity, and each of your own heroes has an elemental affinity that is either stronger or weaker to that enemy type. If you match up correctly, you will break the enemy, which essentially immobilizes them and temporarily increases the damage they take until they're unbroken. This adds additional layers of strategy to fights as you'll continue to encounter additional enemies with an increasing number of Guardian Stones. At one point, I was fighting an enemy that had 3, so I had the option of either having all 3 of my characters attack him and leaving the trash mobs to attack my party, or instead attacking the trash mobs and allowing him to freely smash my heroes. I felt as though giving the boss free reign over beating me up was not the ideal route to take here, since he would likely hit significantly harder than the normal trash monsters, so I opted to have all 3 heroes break him, leaving him not only vulnerable, but also unable to really do anything. This way I could also focus on the other targets and refocus him when he recovered. So in essence, while you could no doubt just zerg the bosses if you really wanted to, and this is very likely to work against lower level bosses and lower level encounters, it is definitely a smarter option to actually take the time and think things through, especially considering there are several different waves of monsters that you often have to combat successively. So we covered the world, we covered the combat, what else is there? Oh right, the graphics, right, how could I forget about the graphics? Now, I'm not too picky when it comes to graphics in games, but I know that a lot of people are, especially when it concerns recruiting your very own harem of waifus. It is with that knowledge. I hit myself too hard there, but it is with that knowledge, it is with that responsibility that I can safely assure you guys there is nothing to be disappointed with here in Exos Heroes. The characters, they look astounding. Very rarely do we get characters that look this impressive in a mobile game, and I was taken aback by what I got to experience. When I first saw the introductory cutscene, I was sure that the graphics would look quite a bit different in game, but the cutscenes, the combat, the characters, the world, everything about this game really just looks and feels top tier. Even when you're left roaming the world map, the game captures a very storybook-esque feel, and it left me wanting to invest more time into it than I probably should have. And do not get me started on how good the combat looks and feels. Man, some of those special effects feel like they're out of a console game. Exos Heroes has a very large emphasis on story. You begin the game with a cutscene that sets a tone for the entire game. You unlock new areas, you unlock new characters, new functions and features by progressing through the story. If you've ever watched a video of mine, you would know that the story is a focal point of what grips me and holds my attention in a video game. If the story is lacking, then my attention will be as well. Thankfully, the comical plot kept me plenty entertained, and having the game available in various languages, yeah, you can even opt to have the game with an English dub, made it much more enjoyable. Seriously though, Exos Heroes is an incredible quality new mobile RPG. This is the quality of game I really did not expect to see. I never thought that I would be able to experience a game that is this much fun on my phone. So I am glad that I had the opportunity to play through this game in its infancy. This is an absolutely beautiful game. Being given the freedom to explore a large open world that takes you back to the days when this was a norm in JRPGs is an incredible throwback. This is something that is sorely missing from the genre today. The graphical style is something that other titles should aspire to. Having this quality in cutscenes is one thing, but having them in towns and battle, this is something that I rarely see done. The combat is unique enough that it actually warrants forethought. It requires you think about your actions as opposed to allowing the game to autoplay, because let me assure you, you're going to end up wiping against more difficult bosses if you do not pay attention. And to top it all off, you get a giant airship that provides the ability to not only aid you in your exploration, but also acts as a hub for you and your heroes. I can understand, I really can, why so many of you guys requested I try this game out. It truly has been an absolute marvel to play thus far, and if you haven't taken the time to try the game out yet, I strongly urge you to, especially if you're a fan of either JRPGs or even just mobile RPGs. You guys are really missing out on a fantastic opportunity to play a brand new mobile RPG if you haven't already. Again, if this is something that you're interested in playing, please go ahead and use that link in the description in the pinned comment below. Not only will it take you directly to the download of the game, but it also supports me as a content creator. So, I mean, you're helping both of us out. But that's just my opinion, my first impressions of the game. What do you guys think though? Does this look like something you'd be interested in? Let me know down in the comments below and let's talk about it. Anyway guys, that is it for me. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you all next time.
Someday soon, I'm gonna make it. Yeah, all hard work's gonna be worth it.